Our Splunk legal team requires we share the following. As you might expect, we'll be making forward-looking statements about our business and financial performance during the course of this presentation. Those statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that are described in our filings with the SEC. Please refer to the full text of the forward-looking statements slide for further information. We ask that you refrain from audio or video recording or rebroadcasting any of the content.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes. Yes, all right, we got thumbs ups, we got yeses. It's middle of the day Wednesday. Everybody's probably getting a little tired from the conference. We get it, hang with us. We're gonna have a good session here for you. By the way, this is a beginner's guide to Splunk Mission Control. So if you were looking for that session, you're in the right spot, congratulations. And we don't have a problem, Houston, so that's always a good thing. And quick hand raiser, we just want to ask as we get started here, because we've been having a lot of conversations in the pavilion. Has anybody here activated Mission Control yet? Just curious. Show it. Oh, okay.
The original or the new one?
No.
Okay.
Oh, he was ready for that. The new. Let's go with the new. So we saw some hands go up. Okay, great. Just wanted to get a sense of some of the audience here. Okay.
Well, let's go by way of introductions.
Yeah.
Nice to meet everybody. I'm Matt Sayer. I'm a PM for Mission Control. And I'm really excited to have you here today and introduce it to you. There was only a few hands. For the rest of you, again, you're in the right place. I've been at Splunk for almost 3 years. I live in beautiful Colorado Springs, Colorado. I love hiking there. I thought that hiking would prepare me for all this walking in Vegas. It does not. And my fellow hiking and outdoor enthusiast, also in Colorado Springs, Dane DeCimino.
That's right. And I think I heard someone else might be from Springs out here, which is pretty cool. My name is Dane DeCimino, Principal Product Marketer for Mission Control. Been with Splunk for about 1.5 years, as Matt mentioned, in Colorado Springs. And you'll find me visiting national parks and fly fishing. That's where you'll find me in my spare time. As JK will attest, that's where he'll find me escaping work from time to time. And actually, Matt, I had an idea. Why don't we just switch this whole presentation and talk about national parks?
You want to talk about national parks?
Can we do that?
I don't have any slides prepared, so
all right.
If everyone's cool with you just talking about it.
All right, well, maybe later.
Okay, we'll do it later.
Okay, sounds good.
Why are we here? This is Splunk's mission statement. We are here to build a safer and more resilient digital world. And the plan is to show you how you can do that today with Mission Control. It seems a little cheesy, but it's true. This is security. This is something that we're trying to help you with.
Exactly. I mean, we're taking this vision that Splunk has overall. This application that we're going to show you is how we make it into a reality. The corny line that I like to use, we're going to try to turn you into sock stars by the time you leave this session, okay?
Stars.
So just be prepared.
Okay. Thank you, Dane.
And we have, a pretty simple, straightforward agenda, right? We're going to go through some industry context, which is a place that I always like to start, being in product marketing. What's going on out there? What are some of the trends, the challenges from our state of security research, for example, that we just issued? And really looking at the area of unified SecOps. That will be very quick. The meat of the presentation here is going to be Matt and I going through Splunk Mission Control. We have a 3-part demo segment that takes you through Mission Control from the lens of unifying SecOps, simplifying your workflows, and modernizing with automation.
That's right, and we're going to do a little bit of Q&A sprinkled in. So every session you've been to has Q&A at the end. We're also going to do that. But after each demo, which is pretty quick, 2 to 5 minutes, if you have any questions about what we just showed you, feel free to step up to this mic or that mic and have a question ready.
That's right. So this research that we just did, and you can Google it and get the whole report if you'd like. You just Google State of Security Splunk, and you'll find the report. But there were a few highlights that I just want to call out. Keeping up with security requirements. 53% said that was harder than 2 years ago. That's one thing we'll look at with Mission Control, how we're aggregating data to make that simpler. 88% reporting challenges with staffing. That's not a new one, right? Everybody's aware of the talent shortage. But Mission Control is really unique in the fact that it's addressing that one specifically. And then SOAR, 67% are deploying SOAR technologies. And that's the underpinning technology or engine you're going to see today with Mission Control that drives a lot of the response template actions. And then probably the most relevant is that 64% of SOC teams are struggling to pivot, right? That pivoting effect, the swivel chair. And Mission Control is really built to unify our products and our security portfolio under one umbrella to address that issue.
Exactly. And I read this report, Dane. I had 20 minutes of actual free time at work, and so I did more work, and it was a lot of stats. It was, I think by page 20, it was a blur of numbers, and I wanted to see like what kind of trends are in there, like what actually do these numbers mean? And one of the first takeaways I had was that our tools are all siloed and disjointed. We buy these different products because they're supposed to help, but at the end of the day, you're just pivoting between them, and it's just adding stress. You're context switching. That's reducing your productivity. Mm-hmm. It's not a great state to be in because already our SOC processes are slow, and they're complex. They kind of have to be because these are hard problems that we're trying to solve. These are very complex investigations that we're performing. So our tools should be simpler and centralized to reduce that amount of complexity. And then finally, analysts are overwhelmed and reactive. They're getting to work in the morning. They're putting on their fire coat and their fire hat and just fighting fires all day. When everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. So is this resonating with anybody so far in the room? Show of hands. Yeah, that's most of you. That's great. You're in the right spot.
And it resonates with market analysts as well. If you take Gartner's research on consolidation of security platforms are the future, in that report, they talked about how security leaders are being asked to do more with less, and how 80% of them are either consolidating platforms and tools or in the process of doing so. So this is kind of the trend that we wanted to provide for context up front. And the way I like to look at this is in terms of SecOps fusion. If we can go to the next slide. So SecOps fusion, what are we fusing? These elements are really, when you look at it, are coming down to SIM and SOAR and threat intelligence. These underpinning security operations or SecOps technologies really are looking at a convergence of these from your monitoring and log collection and the basics of SIM, and then SOAR providing that response automation and orchestration of technologies. And this term of TDIR is something you'll hear a lot of. You might have seen it in the keynote yesterday, the product keynote where Mike Horn presented around threat detection, investigation, and response. And you saw a little bit of that yesterday. Mission Control is really where the rubber meets the road, and that's what Matt is going to share more about now.
Yeah, that's it. We have the market-leading SIM with enterprise security. We have the market-leading SOAR with Splunk SOAR, and then we acquired TrueStar a couple years ago for threat intelligence. And so we put them all in this one package called Splunk Mission Control. And it's available globally to enterprise security cloud customers today. And as you heard my boss's boss say on stage yesterday, on-prem's coming a little bit later this year, and we'll have a little bit more details about that soon. But you had mentioned at the top that there's 3 pillars that are important to this whole concept. And it started with Unify, correct?
Yeah, to make this more digestible today, this is where we're going to start turning into the product, give you a view into what we're actually talking about, right? So Unify. Unify is all about, again, we talked about TDIR. How do you bring all those elements together? Where does SIM and SOAR actually connect into a unified work surface for you so that you can determine risk faster, understand your priorities, and ultimately close those cases that you're working on as fast as possible? So that's where we're going to turn to now.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the first demo showing you about what it's like to configure and install Mission Control and start getting your incidents in one place. So if we could switch to the demo, please. We're going to start here. And just a reminder, this is a quick 3-minute video. If you have any questions about what I'm about to show you, feel free to stand by a mic and ask it at the end. And then again, if you have other questions, general Q&A will come at the end. So we're going to start here in enterprise security. This is a very familiar app for many people in this room. And we don't have Mission Control installed yet, so we just selected it from the apps dropdown. And we're going to click this Activate Mission Control button. So in the back end, it's automating all the mod inputs you need, all the ingestion logic you need to start drawing in those notables. We'll see here, this welcome modal is also letting us know that SOAR is being completely provisioned, hands-off by the user on the back end. And here it is. You're plopped in a pretty empty state, but then we're going to go back to enterprise security so that we can review that notables are still coming in. And this incident review page is, again, very familiar to a lot of analysts in this room. Here we go. Bunch of notables. So what we're going to do is, again, with zero configuration needed from the user, we're going to go back to mission control, and we're going to see those notables start populating and becoming incidents here. There you go. So another thing you can do with this page is you can create ad hoc incidents should you want to use a non-enterprise security notable.
Wait, hang on, Matt. You keep saying incident and notable. What's
Right,
the
right, right.
difference
So,
between those
notables are generated from correlation searches within enterprise security to show you an interesting, potentially, malicious event that you need to look into.
Okay.
But in mission control, we call them incidents, which lets you do a little bit more.
Okay.
And what you're seeing here on the screen now is that incident review page is really highly customizable. You've got all these columns to choose from. You can add them, remove them. You can filter on them. And you can save these, whatever configuration you have. So like in this particular case, I'm saving a filter that I want to start with. I get into work in the morning, and I want to start with just these interesting things that our organization is focusing on. So I have this filter set up, and I'm good to go for the next day. While I'm here, I can also select multiple incidents. I can run playbooks against them. I can edit them in bulk. If I realize that a lot of these are the same, I can just close them all right away. And last but not least, we're going to go into a more specific incident later, but just a quick preview here of the incidents that we're about to look at in just a moment. So this preview button that I just clicked lets me get just an overview before I actually go into an incident and decide I want to start working on it. We've got title, we've got text, a little description, and then this next section includes things like owner, status, sensitivity. These things are all synced on the back end with enterprise security. So you can work in one, mission control or enterprise security, not step on anybody else's toes as you're working on switching between the two tools. Finally, we have more metadata about this incident, including an SLA, which is totally user configurable based on your organization's service level agreements. This particular one has about 24 hours left. But this particular incident, we're going to delve into over time for the rest of this talk. So here we see a little bit more details about it. Again, these details were just auto-pulled over from enterprise security. And you can have custom fields, which lets you further customize what you're looking at. And again,
how much can you customize? Is there a limit there, or you can add any fields you need?
You can add whatever fields you need and update the summary over time as your investigation evolves. And if you want to see even more details about that, you can see us at the mission control booth later.
That's right. And we did want to factor in, because we realize you're all sitting here and we just went through the content and it's fresh. Is there a question that you want? We have time for one quick question, and then we can move on to the next segment.
And if you don't have a question, totally cool.
No judgment.
We're going to switch
questions.
back to our presentation. So Dane, there was another.
Here we go. We have one here.
Oh, we do have a question.
And these mics should be working, yes? Okay.
They should be. Yeah, we are recording this session, so whatever question you ask, it's going to be on the permanent record.
That's fine, yeah. So you said when you enable it, it spins up a SOAR instance. How does it handle it if you already have SOAR?
If you already have a SOAR instance, you'll get another one. Why have one when you can have one for free? No, what you do get is a better integration. You'll still have your standalone SOAR, and then this one gives you that tight integration with mission control so that you can run playbooks and such and get a preview of what's coming when we help you migrate your current SOAR instance with mission control later. So it's basically a risk-free trial. And if you want to ask a question, feel free to stand right there at the microphone and ask. And then
If you
we'll
have
get back to
another
our
SOAR than
presentation.
the Splunk SOAR.
I'm sorry, could you say it a little
If
bit
you
louder?
have another SOAR platform than Splunk SOAR.
Different
Together
SOAR.
with Mission.
A different SOAR. Well, sir, if you have a MacBook and an iPhone and an Apple Watch, they all play really nicely together. That's what we're doing here with our SIM and our SOAR and our threat intel. Thank you. So back to the presentation. Dane, we have another
Yes.
pillar of this TDIR strategy. Can you
That's
talk about
right.
that?
Yes, this is number 2, and we're going to talk about simplify, right? So how do we simplify workflows? And the area we're going to focus in on here is a feature, and if anybody had stopped by the pavilion, you would have seen this in action. We go through a response template, which really codifies your operating procedures. So as a SOC manager or director, you can insert those tasks and subtasks so that your analysts know exactly what to do in the event of a given incident. This is about repeatability of your processes, the ability to track metrics and have auditability. And the other really cool thing is that you can embed searches, right? So if your SPL is a little shaky or taking a lot of time, these searches can just be click of a button and running for you as a machine in the background. So that's what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah. So if we switch back to our demo, we've got a 2.5-minute demo where we're going to do exactly what Dane said. We're going to see response templates in action. So again, we're starting from the incident review page, which is where we normally start our day. Hopefully we filtered this down to something pretty manageable. And then we're going to click into that one incident I told you about and go right to the response tab of it. So here is that response template. So you can set up your processes however your organization does it, put them here in Mission Control, and here's the configuration view as you have a phase broken into tasks, however many you need to be able to respond to the incident, however it may go. And like Dane mentioned, you can embed SPL. You can also embed playbooks. So this playbook is from something we have configured on SOAR in the back end. Going back, you can see what it looks like when you're about to actually use it. So there it is. You just click this play button, and it'll kick off that playbook in the back end. Now, you're going to see the results in the automation tab, but you can also have this running automatically as soon as it's ingested. So whether you kick the playbook off manually, whether you want it to kick off automatically, that's up to you. So here you go. Here are the results. And this particular playbook just happened to add a note to our task. You can add notes, files, images, whatever you need. And so we'll see here that there's an SPL embedded into this task, which you were talking about.
Okay.
I'm not very good at SPL. I'm really excited about that SPL Copilot to help people like me. But until then, if we have an engineer that's created a really great SPL query, well, here it is, embedded in the task. It's got tokens that allow you to take data from the incident to be able to run it for you. Additionally, as you're going through a response template, you can add tasks ad hoc because your investigation's evolving, or you can do a whole new response plan if you'd like to.
Wait, hang on. Pause a second, because you keep saying response plan and response template.
Yes.
What's going on
So
there?
the response template is what it is when it's just a template. Like you don't have any of the actual data from your incident filled in yet.
Okay.
As soon as you apply it to an incident, boom, response plan.
Got it.
So lastly, if you're working on this response template and you don't want to publish the changes yet, you can have a draft mode. So that's response templates in a nutshell for you.
All right.
Questions about that? Again,
Yeah.
feel free to step up to
Similar
the
to
mic.
last time, if there's one, maybe two really quick questions, we can do that and then move on. Did you have one? Or
Oh, you're shy.
If you want,
you were
I
shy
can
in my booth earlier.
I can
but,
repeat your question for you. Don't worry.
I noticed when you enabled it, it was really impressive that you're able to just go back to it and it's basically got your notes. Can you explain to me how that piece works exactly?
Yeah, sure. So the question is, we had the response template or the response plan, and you saw that the note was added really quickly. How did that happen? So Mission Control, again, connects to SOAR on the back end. And that playbook, what it did was it looked at my incident, it looked at one of the values, the key value pairs, and it just happened to be base 64 stuff. The playbook decoded it, because it's a computer, it's fast, and then within that playbook, it can edit Mission Control incidents, including adding a note, it can add a task. Anything you can click and do in Mission Control, you can automate with the SOAR playbook. I like that question. It's really good. So we're going to flip back to our presentation so that we could talk about Dane's third pillar, which is modernization. So back to the slides. We have modernize?
Yeah, so when we talk about modernize, this is really about the application of, we just talked a little bit about automation, right? So, we want to dive into the SOAR aspect and making sure that analysts can be more proactive in their, in their investigations by having these playbooks built and pre-configured, and really how the access to Splunk's entire ecosystem comes into play. And ultimately, we look at this as addressing, the efficiency issues that are happening in the SOC, some of the stats we talked about earlier. This is really where modernize comes into play. And actually, this is probably the deepest dive that we'll go into the product in this segment, right, Matt?
Yeah, so we're going to do another demo. And so if we go back to our demo slide, this is about a 5.5-minute demo. You're going to see a lot of SOAR stuff happening. So again,
by the way, Matt, your ability to do demos without using your hands is second to none.
Oh, thank you so much. It's almost like I pre-planned this with a video or something.
Wow.
So if you remember, we had this playbook that we ran, right? So we see the automation history. It's that playbook we ran earlier. So everything you do is saved, searchable, auditable. So what we're going to do is we want to go back and look at the full output of the note that you wanted to see, right? You also saw it at my booth, so I don't know. Are you a plant or something? Did I ask you to come here? No? No, you didn't. Thank you. So there was an IP address that we were able to extract. And so we're going to see it right here in the middle. Pretty typical. But what do we do with it? Well, one of the things that we can do, SOAR ran a search for me after it found that IP and gave me this table, which is a very nice, well-formatted table that has a URL, which looks a little suspicious. And we have another playbook that we ran earlier, before you guys got here, which shows another table with some threat intel that we were able to pull out of it. You can do threat intel from the threat intel tab or via SOAR. I'm going to show you the threat intel tab a little bit later. But right now, we see that there's some high priority bad stuff going on here. So let's go ahead and take some corrective action. Right now, we're in the automation tab again, where you have the options to run ad hoc playbooks, ad hoc actions. So right now, we're choosing to run an ad hoc action where we're using Carbon Black to block that hash, which we just saw was malicious. And because we're dealing with a user who was affected by this, who must have been hacked, PowerShell accessed on their computer, we're going to go ahead and block the user's account again with Carbon Black. We're quarantining the user's device with Carbon Black, and then we're going to disable the user with Azure. Now, that's just how the tools our organization happens to have. There's over 290 plus connectors available for Splunk SOAR, and you can configure any of them and use them within Mission Control. So, getting back to our incident, let's go look at that base 64 encoded string that we were just talking about. Pretty gross, pretty ugly, pretty long. Again, we didn't have to copy and paste it anywhere because SOAR was able to auto-decode it for us. Looks way better. But remember that IP that we just saw. Say, I want to look into that a little bit more. Typically, I guess I'd pivot to another, console and search for it. But no, we don't have to do that. We're going to go ahead and copy this IP, and we have the full search and reporting built right into Mission Control here. Now, this demo is a little old, so we have this really gross, not dark mode search.
Dark mode. Who wants dark mode
Everyone
here?
loves dark mode.
All right,
yeah,
we got it. It's there.
Mode.
It's there.
Yeah, no, come to our booth. We got the latest demo. It's dark mode. It's beautiful. It'll make you cry tears of joy. But right now, let's go ahead and take a look. The functionality is the same. All right, so we've seen some SMTP data. So perhaps this user was the victim of some kind of email phishing. So we're going to go ahead and take this event that this returned and add it to our investigation. So when you do that, I'm going to show you in just a minute here. There's that same user. We're going to add this event to the incident, which lets us have a really nice package of the germane incidents associated with Mission Control. So if you ever want to search for it later, you can see, okay, we did this whole investigation, here are the relevant events, and boom, all in one spot. So previously, there just wasn't a way to do this. It was just disjointed. So boom, events tab, it's loading, there it is. So Next, let's see the result of the search that we mentioned earlier. So remember, we had that embedded search in our task here. Let's actually go ahead and click that. And teased you earlier, but we're going to do it now. Again, opens up that full search and reporting app in dark mode today, I promise, within Mission Control. And one of the things we see here is it returned this file called hdor.exe. That's malware. It's bad. So if you remember, we had that other Intel playbook we ran, and we saw the results here. So that's one of the hashes that represents that file. And so we did block everything already. Organization secure, we're good to go. But again, we do have built-in threat intelligence into Mission Control. So we have an Intel tab. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to see values loading. This is Splunk, it loads, it takes time. But if you come to our booth, you'll notice that we upgrade Mission Control relatively frequently, faster than most other Splunk products. New release about every other month. And so even though here you see all the information you need on the screen that we have from Threat Intel, now we got some extra eye candy in there. You can see icons with appropriate color gradients that make it a little bit more obvious when you look at what's going on. So again, Threat Intel, natively built in, automatically pulled out all the observables we could find, and they're right here. In case you haven't noticed, we haven't left this incident page this whole time. So to summarize, you were able to see we were responding to this incident using SOAR actions, SOAR playbooks, and gathering more intel with our threat intelligence management.
Right, and so with that intelligence, you can pretty much plug in anything that you would have normally, right?
So
recorded future, anomaly, all the tools.
CrowdStrike, whatever feeds you got, you can set them up in TIM, and you're good to go.
Got it.
So everything we showed you is pretty advanced. So as we flip back to our presentation, just know that you don't start here, right, Dane?
No, I mean, everything that we talk about is a journey. There's an adoption path that we'd like to talk about in terms of your maturity level. So if you're still in the early days, right, logging, monitoring, or looking at some use cases for just getting started with SOAR and building that out, wherever that is, we're looking at this as a progression.
Exactly. And so it's not just us that love Mission Control. It's our customers too. And seeing the value is real easy. Mike Rennie from GoTo, he sees the value, and it's incredible how much time this thing can save.
That's right, and Splunk is recognized as an industry leader by analysts, and a lot of the Mission Control, the unification, and the trends that are happening we're really front and center in terms of addressing that market right now, because we're addressing what customers are asking for, and that's that unify aspect of security operations.
Exactly. And if you're wondering, okay, well, what do I do now? If you're eligible, you have Mission Control, right? So go activate it.
Activate it. So it's even I'm in marketing. I can activate this app. Okay, I will. Give me the demo.
Okay, demo.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
If you come by the booth, right? Or actually, we're going to switch this a little bit because we have a special guest in Nora here, standing in the back. If you turn
Hi,
around,
Nora.
she's standing
Everyone
there
Nora.
waving.
Hello.
We have right now a very special invite to this audience here to participate and give us feedback in terms of a UX group. Mike Rennie, who you just saw from GoTo, participated in this.
Yeah.
And what this does is it gives you access to other customers of Splunk, other SOC analysts, directors, engineers, architects, and you can talk to them about what you're doing, but also give feedback to Splunk as we iterate in that bi-monthly release cycle that Matt was talking about. So Matt, we have your word on that. You're actually the product manager. So.
I actually do listen to the things you say, and I try to solve the problems you have. I know it's crazy, and it's thanks to people like Nora and her threat research, not threat research, her general UX research that helps me do that.
And she'll probably be standing outside because we might have to get out of the room, but just see her after. The other thing I want to plug and just make sure you're aware of is this splunk.com/mission control webpage. There's everything you could want and need to find, including a product tour, white papers, beginning guides, things like that, videos, demos. They're all located there. So we've been.
And the cool thing is, if you forget the hyphen, we set up a 302. It goes right to the right page. You're good to go.
That's how modern and advanced we are.
Yeah.
We don't even need hyphens.
Really cool stuff here. I didn't put the slide in here, but I think some of you have to scan this, I guess. Does anyone need a minute to do that?
Yeah, this is the learning quest, so if you needed to do this, go feel free to, we'll leave this open maybe, as we can probably
Just for a minute, because now it's the proper Q&A time. So if anyone has any questions about what they've seen so far, again, mic 1, mic 2, mic 0, mic 1.
We got an early
know.
mic gunner here.
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, I saw you in my booth too.
Yeah,
What are
we
you
met
doing?
yesterday.
Hello
Okay.
again.
Ask me a question.
Do you guys have plans to release a Mission Control specific course on Splunk Learning?
Absolutely, we do. So yeah, I just saw a really great video that the education team made with a really simple end-to-end how to use Mission Control for. It's basically my demo, but way better. These people are pros. And so we're also incorporating a little bit more Mission Control content into the enterprise security training because that's where we're getting a lot of our ingested notables from. And finally, we are going to have a proper course with instructor-led training.
Was one just released, I think I saw? Right?
Yeah, that's the one I talked about, the really, really good one that I liked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's way better than this one. Absolutely. Yeah, don't be shy. Grab a mic. Uh-oh, we got one on mic 1/2.
So for those of us who are on compute license, how does this affect SVC usage?
That is an excellent question because it's very minimal, which is, should make you really happy to hear. As soon as you turn it on, it's not rerunning all your correlation searches. It's not doubling, whatever you're doing in enterprise security. It's pulling right from that notables index. And so we estimate at max, super high, really, really not optimistic estimate, 2% impact. So in reality, it's a lot less than that. Thanks. What else we got? Dan, I might have to start asking you national parks questions.
Yeah, I mean, we can go there.
Okay.
You want to go there?
Okay, no, we have a guy.
Okay,
all right.
So do you see any of Splunk on-calls features moving towards mission control?
Splunk on call, so our Ollie product, we do have, we are a security and observability solution. And so as far as taking the alerts from on-call and putting them into mission control, we do have plans to ingest alerts from just about anywhere. So like I said, today it's ES largely, or you can create the ones ad hoc. Eventually it's going to be whatever you can imagine.
To follow up on that, more of the ability to join a bridge, see who else is other analysts on call, stuff like that, less than the events and data inside of on-call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you go onto our Splunk base and look, there is an on-call SOAR app. So you can set up a playbook that does exactly that. And we have some pre-built playbooks that help you set up something with on-call, spin up a Slack channel, Teams channel, whatever you may need to do to get that bridge going so that everyone can start actually looking at the incident and not just doing the administrative stuff to look at the incident.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
there's a follow-up too, kind of what you said earlier as far as ingesting events from more than just ES. Mm-hmm. For people or SOCs that are managing running outside of SOAR or running off of SOAR right now, do you have plans to kind of take what has been done in those cases and migrate that over to mission control instead of utilizing the notable index, which might not have some of the processing that's been done down in SOAR already?
Yeah,
So
that's something I would love to talk to you more about. So if you come to the booth right after this, let's talk.
Yeah, and splunkbase.com, if you want to check any questions in terms of which connectors are there, that's a great place to visit, and you can just check out to clarify or verify.
Absolutely. We got a
Yes,
hand
sir.
raised right here. And feel free to, hang out at the mics if you want to, wait for the next question.
2 questions.
Oh, man. Well, you got to ask on
And
different
alternate
mics.
mics,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay.
First question. The integration with SOAR has a 100 action limit.
Today.
Today.
I guess we should have said this a little
Yeah.
earlier. So as soon as you activate Mission Control, you get a free SOAR trial for 6 months, 100 action a day limit. As soon as you talk to your account team and you want to upgrade that a little bit, action limit goes away and you can do more.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he's going to the other mic.
My man.
I love this. All right.
Love it. Thank you.
What app did you use
Sorry,
to decode the
we have
base
another question
64?
over here? Yes.
What app did you use to decode the base 64?
Great question. I'm a product guy, No, I looked at that playbook for the first time today, and I totally forgot. But
It's all right.
that's a great question.
We will find out, though.
Meet me at the booth.
Meet me at the booth.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have one from a partner.
Yeah, so for partners, we have apps on Splunk SIM, ES, TrueStar, and SOAR. Is there a plan to unify the apps around mission control, or are we going to be continuing to develop on 4 places here?
I mean, the plan is to make you double the apps, actually. No, not really. So these are different products, and as we unify them, we want to consolidate them as much as we can. But at the end of the day, they're for different uses, right? Your Splunk app is for getting your data in your TA, it's for getting data into Splunk. And then you have the SOAR app to actually go respond to these kinds of things or gather more enrichment. So I can definitely see an opportunity there to make it a little bit simpler instead of maintaining a giant ecosystem. So I'll probably work with you, Dan, to make sure we make that a little bit easier for you in the future.
Yeah, we're going the other way. Would there be apps specifically for mission control that maybe wouldn't work
no,
with SIM?
absolutely not. That's because of our integration with SOAR. That's where we're going to keep the apps for now.
Thanks.
Dan from Domain Tools, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Yes, sir.
We have another question?
So we are very interested in the idea that we're going to be able to, sometime shortly in the future, be able to fail over between regions. And I also just learned today that mission control and SOAR are not part of that initial step. So do you have any ideas to what or when that's going to be included, or the potential ramifications as an enterprise security person where you're like, great, we're psyched about mission control, we're going to put all our, and then all of a sudden, well, during an incident, we have no access to that. Well, initially.
Right, yeah. So, XRDR, is that what you're referencing? Yeah, that is a ball of wax that I have tried to avoid as much as I can. But no, you're right. Like, it's true that, you don't want to miss something during an event like that. And so we're working with the appropriate teams to make sure that whatever we do is, at least an MVP that is serviceable, and then to improve it over time.
Okay, great, thank you.
Got time? We still have 8 minutes. If you want to ask another question, we're open to that.
What's your favorite national park?
Or we can go there. I mean, we are in the vicinity of Zion, Death Valley, Capitol Reef. If you want to, no, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Well,
all right.
If that's it, we want to thank you very much for coming. I hope you feel a little bit more confident in your knowledge of mission control. And if you don't, please come to our booth. We would love to talk to you. Dane's going to be there, so...
I'll be there from 3 to 5 today.
I think he's going to
and
hop off the stage.
More importantly, Kavita, and that's better half in the product management team.
This guy. All right, thank you, everybody.
See you guys.